Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you've been enjoying my videos. If you have, please hit that like, subscribe and share button. It means a lot to me to see my subscriber numbers grow. Now today I am going to be getting into this big cardboard box here in a second. Now I've been looking at the GVMs of my Land Cruiser and I found that with everything bolted on I'm overweight. My car needs to go on a diet. So, two reasons. One, my old roof cage, and I've probably just given away what's in the box. My old roof cage is looking a little tired. It's getting a bit of rust in it. It still works fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But it is a big, heavy steel ARB roof cage. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, being a big, heavy steel roof cage. And I do like the brand ARB. But I find that they're fairly expensive. So I've seen a couple of people driving around with these. This is the OCAM accessories. I think I'm saying it right? OCAM 4x4 accessories roof cage. Now I've gone with the aluminium one, which is a lot lighter. And on the box here, on the website, I find really interesting. On the website, it says it's 25, 26 kilos. On here, it says it's 28 kilos. But still, that's going to be a massive saving up high on my roof with a higher centre of gravity. Means I'm going to be able to carry more payload in the car when I go. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's open up this box. Let's see what the thing looks like. I'm going to put it together, stick it on the roof of the car, and there we go. Hopefully you enjoy the video. So, now, the reason that I went with the OCAM rack over ARB or another brand is that it was a heck of a lot cheaper, but it still looked like the quality was pretty good. We'll see once I get it on. Now, at this point, some of you might be wondering, yes, why have I gone with the typical tradie roof rack? OCAM does make a... Try that again. Okay, now at this point you've probably noticed that it is the typical tradie style roof rack with the basket around the top. You're probably wondering why I've gone with that. That's my personal choice. I carry things like plastic tables and stuff. I work with a group of kids camping and I like it. They sit down inside. I can tie them down inside and still put canoes or kayaks up on the roof. Now, OCAM do make a tradie, a flat rack or open-ended rack without the rails around the side. Make sure you check that out if you're interested. I've gone there with this one because that's the rack that is going to best suit my personal needs. Now, I've left the bubbles around the top here, bubble wrap, so that when I flip it over, I'm not scuffing up anything. I'll pull that off later. It's not going to get in the way of any of my bolting. Now, next thing, we've got to unwrap all that. Now, I mentioned that this rack weighed 28 kilos as per the box with all this hardware. I haven't been able to find how heavy my steel roof rack is. So I'm actually going to weigh that later. So keep an eye out later in the video when that comes off the car and I weigh it and see the weight difference. On our page we have our mounting brackets. We have our foot plate or our feet plate which goes down to your roof. We have our covers, we have our bolts, we have our rubbers so that it doesn't damage your car. We have our nuts and bolts and they provide a tool. OCAM provide a Allen key and it looks like quite a decent Allen key, not just a cheap one. Now OCAM are an Australian company. So they provide quite a good Allen key. So let's get into it and follow the instructions. Okay, so the first step is we get our mounting brackets and we get our feet and we need to attach them. So we attach them with our springs our plate screws. Let me get the wording right. Now I probably should have sorted them out because there is 3 sizes. There's that one, that's a long one. There's 3 sizes. We're going to use the shortest ones first. Now, spring washer, and I need to check this one. 15mm, spring washer, flat washer, and it doesn't say anything about a washer on the back, which is interesting, I find. So there we go, spring washer, cup, spring washer, flat washer, through the hole, and screw our nut up on the back end. Slippery little sucker. So we now do that to every one of the feet. So for the next step, we need to flip the rack. I've got it up this way at the moment. You need to flip it upside down. Now the reason I'm making the video as I am, not prepped for the instructions, is because I find myself, when I go to build something and it's all screw this, screw that, screw it, all prepped and ready to go, I struggle to find it. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this video the way that I'm doing it, because it is different. Now we take our mounting brackets. You can see that there is 6 slots, A, B, C, according to the instructions. Now for smaller vehicles you'll mount there, for larger vehicles you'll mount there. Now you may need to measure your vehicle. I know I have a larger vehicle, so I'm using the outer slots. So we go with so we take our Allen key, spring washer, flat washer, and they say to put the Allen key caps up on top, and I've dropped that. A little bit fiddly there. Now this is going to be able to slide when you don't want to do that up too tight. You want it to slide so that when you put it on your roof of your vehicle you can line up your channels. Now we do that to all the other brackets. And I'm going to go out because it's a wide vehicle. Now, just one interesting thing here. I seem to currently have a lot of washers left over, and I'm unsure why. Now, in the instructions, it says to fit the nuts without washers. So I've done that, but it seems there is enough washers to fit that. So I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to put them on because these nuts actually have a bite down in to grip onto the metal. So if I put the washer in there, it's not going to bite the metal as well. So at no point in the instructions has it showed me to be using a flat washer on the back, but I seem to have a lot of flat washers left over. I am going to be using some flat washers when I get to these, but yeah, it seems like I've got some washers. So anyway, that's all done. The rubber strip goes on like this, and we put the long rubber strips onto all of our mounting brackets. Now I have to remove my other roof rack at this point. Okay, as I mentioned, I am replacing it. So if you are building one of these for the first time, you won't have to do this step. You'll just skip ahead in this video. I'm just going to do this super quick in time lapse, whip it off, just so you can see I've done it. You can see a bit of rust starting to form here, and overall it doesn't look good. I'm going to have to mount my lights on the new rack, but that will all come in time. So let's get this off so we can continue fitting the OCAM 4x4 rack. Okay, so I've got the roof cage off the car now, and we're on to the next step of fitting the OCAM 4x4 roof cage. Now, I've gone with my endless chain system here. I've got 2 straps, I've got it tied off in the middle. Now this is the point, actually, for the whole thing. If you've got a mate, you may want to get a mate to come around and give you a hand, have a few drinks, get him to help you screw the nuts and the bolts together. But for this point, if you don't have an endless chain or a lifting device, you will need 2 or 3 people. Yes, it is only 30-ish kilos to lift, but it's very awkward to lift up over the roof of your car, because when you lift it, you've got to hold it up there and then make your adjustments. Okay, so I'm going to lift it up. Now, one thing I should mention, I put a bit of cardboard here just so the chain doesn't damage my new roof. Okay, and I'm on the wrong side. There we go. Now, I've just noticed that it's not quite balanced. So with that now, because as I drive in I can pick it there we go. That's pretty close. I can do adjustments. Now I just noticed that in moving it around, I put these on before I lifted it up and before I did everything else, moving it around. Now they came off, the little rubber strips that go on here. So you're going to want to keep an eye on that. Yeah, that one there is about to come off, it slid off. So you're going to want to keep an eye on that and just put them all on before you continue lowering the rack or putting it on. Just keep an eye on them. Okay, at this point, remember we had the nuts inside so they could slide in and out on the feet. We're going to make the rack sit correctly on the roof. So we need to do that by sliding these in and out. I'm just going to check the other side. They had all been bumped in, as has these ones. So, just like that. And this is where it's good to have the 2 people or 3 people if you've got some mates. Now, I want to move that back a touch. Now, make sure those little rubbers stay sitting in the right place in your gutter. They rolled over just then on me, so that's one thing to look out for. So, just want to check you've got clearance. Now it could be a good idea to measure here with something. I'm just going to use my finger because I'm not worried about it being exact, but so it doesn't look offsided, lopsided, offset. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how it's sitting. To me it looks even, whatever. Backwards and forwards, front to back, whatever. I may make some fine adjustments once I get my awnings on it. But for now it's good. What you need to do now is you need to lock, so make sure these are all sitting in the right position and then lock up these nuts. Now, the nut on the back is a Duralock nut, so it bites in and you don't actually want it to spin. So it's a good idea to put your finger on the back of it and lock it up because it will bite in and lock. Now you want them tight so that they're not going to come undone. Once you've done these ones, you need to do the ones on the top, because remember we had them sliding in and out. And I'm going to move so the roof cage is now fully sitting there in place. Okay, so this is a little fiddly and the instructions did say 13mm spanner, so I mentioned before about just holding it with your finger, but it is a lot easier with the spanner. You can just put the spanner under, just be careful you don't scratch your paint. You hold it and we can do them up like that. Now you do need to be careful that your spanner doesn't jam under some of the brackets there. I have had that happen on a couple of them, and I've also had a couple here like this one where it's very, very close access to tighten it up. And that was one where my spanner got jammed in there. I think I've done that one. Next, we need to fit our cover plates. Makes it look pretty and stops it coming off the car. So we can't see the bolts, covers it and stops it coming off. Now, we want to put our little rubber strip on here so that it protects the gutter. Now, if you tighten with too much force, it can damage the gutter. And as you can see, my gutter is loose from being over tightened by previous owners with the roof cage. So we use our longer screws with a spring washer and a big washer. Now, we don't want the roof cage to fall off, but we don't want to squash that gutter up too tight. So there we go, just like that, nice and firm. Move on, all the way around, exactly the same thing. Well, there you have it, the rack's fitted. Just got a bit of this stuff here that I've got to clean off. Standing on it, it flexes a little bit more than my steel rack. But for what I'm going to be putting up here, it's not really going to matter. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm just going to have to watch. I can't tie down to the mesh anymore. I used to do that on my steel rack, but there is plenty of poles, runners going along under it. Now, while I'm talking, I'm just going to start taking some of this off. I will be weighing. I've got to strip some stuff off that other rack, but I'm not going to bother showing you the strip off in the video. And I will be weighing the other rack. I know how heavy this rack is, and I want to see what the actual weight difference is between the two racks. So yeah, it's pretty stylish. The instructions were fairly easy to follow. As I said, I just pulled it out of the box and I was just glancing at the instructions as I went through. You probably will want 2 or 3 guys to help fit it on the roof, unless you have a lifting device like I had. Stick around, we'll weigh the rack, and then I will give you my final thoughts on this roof cage. Well, there you have it. OCAM 4-wheel drive rack, nicely mounted, all on the roof. I've got everything up there, all my awnings and everything again, back how it was. Now, a few things that I found a little fiddly were screwing the nuts up, just getting the brackets here lined up right, but not too hard. Now, it took me 3 hours to do it, and now that's 3 hours to build, unpack, build, and assemble, put on. And remember, in that time, I also had to take the other rack off, and I was filming. So 3 hours on my own. Remember, get a mate, have some drinks, and get them to give you a hand to put it on. Now, the question you've all been waiting for, the other rack, I weighed the other rack and it was 75 kilos. That's 75 kilos of steel sitting up on top of your roof cage, coming off the GVM of your vehicle. So this OCAM rack, the aluminium rack, is 26 kilos or 25-ish, 26, 25 on the website, 26 on the box, so I'm not sure how that works. But yeah, so 25. So I've saved about 50 kilos of space that I can now put into my car of my GVM. So I quite like this rack. Not a paid promotion. I purchased this rack. I looked around to see what was out there. So guys, if you've liked my videos and you like this rack, check it out, OCAM Industries, go to their website. See you around on YouTube. Make sure you hit that like, share and subscribe. It means a lot to me. Thanks for watching my videos. See you around, guys.